vulva, vulva and me, my vulva, my vulva and me, my vulva and me.
Welcome, everybody. It is the season premiere. Season 3 of my Vulva. We've done this 2 times already, so y'all already know how it goes. I am just over the moon, and this is not for the show. She knows personally how much I enjoy her, and I tell her regularly, like almost to the point where I feel like she's like, "Girl, you don't get on my face." How much I adore her, but it is none other. Our first premiere guest is none other than the Melissa, Mrs. Kev on stage. Everybody, where you are, give her a virtual round of applause.
Hello, everybody. And congratulations on 3 seasons. First of all, congratulations on deciding to create and make a statement in the world of sexuality, in the world of feminism, and in the world of the church, combining those together and creating a lane for yourself that does not exist. Congratulations to you.
Oh my, now we're here to talk about you now. Don't give me that. It's too early. Don't start me to cry.
Listen, the part of the reason I think the connection to you is so strong is because you offer what I wish I had as a teenager. I wish that there was some youth leader that would come in and meet me in my teenage mess and be just as, what'd you just call it, sophisticated?
Yes.
Know the songs where I'm at, and also be able to give me sound advice about sex and sexuality that would help me not be where I am today. So I think you're such a needed voice in the church. I think you're such a needed voice. And church, the Big C church.
Yes. Thank you so very much. And honestly, my Vulva and Me was created just for that. To be that what we didn't have growing up. If I had that youth leader, there was so much stuff that I would not have gotten into because I was always a curious child. Mm-hmm. And so I would ask a question, you can give me an answer, I'm gonna go figure it out on my own. And that has gotten me into some stuff.
Oh, boom. You hear me?
Okay.
You hear me?
So, oh my. So I truly thank you for that. So why not, here in my Vulva and Me, we believe that we want to give Black women their flowers, but we also feel like it's okay for Black women to buy their own flowers. So why don't you, clearly, everybody knows who you are unless they've been living under a rock. But for those who may have just joined the land of the living, let everybody know who you are and why you are so dope.
Oh, thank you. My name is Melissa Fredericks. I am known on social media as MrsKevOnStage. I am a podcast. Listen, I'm about to stand in some truth and speak some things. Okay. I am a podcast host. I am a content creator. I am a speaker. I have a book, another book that I'm currently working on. I am a mother. I am a wife. And I be trying to do all the things.
And doing so well.
Thank you.
And she fine. Are you lucky? Are you seeing what I'm saying? Because she's fine, okay?
Listen.
How? With all of the things she just listed.
Yeah, I'll be doing all the things. I told you, I just went and had a facial about 2 weeks ago. She be trying to keep my skin together because it don't always be doing what I needed to do. But listen, God's grace.
Yes, he is. She's being very modest and very, very, very humble. She is also the pivot queen. Okay? Because 2020 was a dirty, old, raggedy, nasty, terrible somebody.
I mean, just trifling.
If being a F-boy was a year.
Girl. 2020 defines it. You hear me?
I mean, all the words we love. Toxic.
Oof.
2020.
Very toxic. Emotional highs, emotional lows. You think you turn in the corner. Psych.
Oh, what you thought. Struggle, love.
Girl.
It's all of it.
All of it.
But let me tell you, Miss right here, had a conference of my dreams. I was so ready. But let me show you how I'm about to take the virtual conference world by storm. Okay?
Really?
And then the enemy tried to play little raggedy stuff and try to act right. But okay, that's all right. Pivot in and did it. And I repeat, while being fine. Okay. So listen, you are amazing. You already know that I'm obsessed with you. And I'm like, I'm going to reel it back in because it's beginning to get to an unhealthy level at this point. So,
when I tell you the feelings are mutual, but I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So here my Vulva me, you know me, so you know that I live for a good game. I am obsessed with games, game nights, all of the things, and creating them myself. So we're going to play a little game called Name That Tune. And because I can't sing, and if I know what I know of you is correct, you are a bit of a wordsmith. Right?
Oh, I do like words.
Yes, yes. So what I'm going to do is called Name That Tune Doing Too Much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a lyric from a song.
Okay.
But if the writer did a little bit too much.
Okay. I'm so excited, but I'm telling you now, I'm going to suck at this game. So I'm so terrible at lyrics, but the premise, completely here for it. Okay. Completely here for this.
Awesome. Okay, so this is going to be a really, really easy one just to show the concept of the game.
Okay.
All right, so if it's elevated, it's going to stay
there. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. Ooh. If it's elevated, it's going to stay there.
It's a brand new song.
Oh, Lord. I ain't going to know it.
You're going to know. If I say you're going to know. Like, it's brand new and I'll give you this clue. She's also one of those people who love God, but people don't give her credit for loving God because of how she show up in the world.
Girl, you know I ain't gonna know this.
Oh my goodness. This is the easy one.
Is it? Girl, I told you I'm terrible.
You want me to give you the answer?
Give it to me.
Okay. If it's up, then it's stuck. Ma'am. If it's up, then it's stuck.
Oh.
That busted not the Billy. Oh no.
Girl, you gotta stick to 90s R&B. Girl, you know I don't know no new songs. I don't know.
That's like not knowing why.
I do know why.
Same person. You're wearing.
Oh, is it?
Up is Cardi B.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you, this whole conversation is so on brand. This is so on brand.
Still love her. Okay.
This is so on brand.
Okay, so this one is an artist, not a song, but it's an artist. If the group name was doing too much.
Okay.
Okay, 90s R&B. So
okay.
Okay. Male minors turn to multiple male men.
Oh, Boyz II Men.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Finally. Okay.
Girl.
All right. Here's new lyric. Not quite 90s, but 90s culture. Okay. So, hello, Mrs. Bush. This is Evangelist Caesar.
Hello, Mrs. Bush. This is Evangelist Caesar. Oh, I really love this game. I'm just terrible at it. Hello, Mrs. Bush. Oh, I don't know. Hello, Mrs. Bush. Melissa, think. I'm so blanking.
Okay, I'll give you another clue.
Okay.
The real lyrics contain their first names.
Which is what I thought. But I'm struggling on the Bush and Evangelist Caesar because all I can think of is Jay-Z when he said the Caesar line in the song. And then hello, I thought of Mr. Telephone Man, but that can't be it. Child.
My God, you are so brilliant. You are too smart for your own.
Girl, my brain is like, ooh, girl. Then I went to Adele.
Oh, no, ma'am.
But then you said Bush, so now I'm thinking of Barbara Bush. It's too
okay, lean into that.
Okay, Barbara Bush.
Lean into Barbara.
Okay, Barbara. This is Shirley.
Yes. You know the song? Hello, Barbara. This is Shirley.
Wait. Let me tell you why. Oh my God, this is so on
You
brand.
have to do your slide.
Yes, do the slide because this is so on brand. I didn't know that was a song. I thought it was just a meme.
No! It's called Woman to Woman. Like coming to you as a woman. Oh my God. I absolutely love you.
Oh my God.
Listen, we need a game night like in real life because
This, what's funny is I did think of Shirley and Caesar, right? But I was like, or hello, Shirley, this is Barbara, whatever. Hello, Barbara, this is Shirley, whatever the thing is. Child. And I said, well, that can't, because that ain't a song, that's a meme. So stick with the songs.
my goodness.
On brand. For all of you who have just met me, this is so on brand for me.
Okay.
I never know songs ever. I'm not the cool kid. I never know things. This is hysterical. I'm having a great time.
I have one more and I have options, but I really feel like you're not gonna get either.
No, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it all.
Okay.
I'm having a great time regardless.
All right. Okay. So take a pause for 60 seconds. You imagined it was over.
Take a pause for 60 seconds. You imagine. Okay, wait. Tell me, are we in the 90s?
It's not 90s, but still very us pop culture. Whenever this part of the song comes on, everybody goes crazy.
Oh, that definitely means I don't know it.
Okay.
Take a pause for 60 seconds. Stop in the name of love.
Okay. No. All right. You want me to give you the answer?
Girl, give me the answer.
Okay. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? I am telling on you. I don't even have your husband's number, but I'm getting ready to tell on you because I'm certain that's the thing. It has to be in the vow. Meek Mill. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
I was never gonna get that ever. I've never heard that song before in my life.
Yes, you have. You absolutely have heard this song. The other clue was swag surfing. Would you have gotten that?
Absolutely not.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
I am familiar with that song though.
But if I did this, you'd have got it?
Yes.
Okay. So we need to play charades next time.
Correct. I suck at game. I'm the worst. Kevin is so good. And part of the reason that we don't play together is for the sake of our marriage.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I resonate with that very much so because I can't listen. My ex-husband was my spades partner one time.
See, same.
And he reneged, and I said, okay, this is
you're done.
We'll never do this again.
Yeah,
I understand. I resonate. Kevin, when you watch this, I got you. Because this right here, as much as we love you, that'll make you're going to sleep on the couch now. Because especially like Taboo, oh baby.
Oh, but see, I'm good at Taboo. But that's the extent that I can get you. I'm always good for a good 5 to 7, depending on the card.
Oh, that'll work. Then.
I'm gonna get you 5 to 7 every time I'm up.
That's good. You should play. There's a midnight, like adult version of Taboo.
Ooh,
yeah, it is amazing. So let's go ahead and jump right on into these questions. Melissa wrote for those of you watching. I got to make sure I connect to the audience as well because I be forgetting because I just be so enthralled here.
Yes.
But Melissa wrote the foreword for Volume 1 of My Vulva and Me. And literally, and this is not no cap, it's not blowing smoke or any of that. Like when I think about your life or the part of your life that you shared with us, with the world, I think My Vulva and Me. Like that, just your experience and all of the Melissa 2.0, 3.0, all of the point O's, and it's like the evolution, which is why this episode is called Black Women Evolve, because we are a thing at one point in life. We go through things and then we become something else. I wouldn't even say we become something else. We become even better, more authentic versions of who we were meant to be, because we then found that strength, I find, to stop performing. And one of those things, like I started therapy again, thanks to you. I don't even think you know. I don't even think I
I
told you.
didn't. I started too, girl.
I started therapy again. I think one of the episodes I was watching, you were talking about the better help, whatever the brand was, it's like a tech
Better
service or something. And I was like, that I went on therapy for Black girls directory. I was like, I need to find me somebody. And so she made me do this exercise the other day where she had me write down all of my characteristics. Who is Brittany? Had to write it all down. And then we went back to the top of the list and she said, is this you or is this a performance? Ooh. And I was just like, ma'am, I'm not paying you for this. I didn't need to all of it.
Yeah, there's violence in the world. I don't need violence, then I'm paying you.
I'm not paying you for that. And so we really went through all of them and found out some of the things that I am tethered to as a part of my personality. I was able to pinpoint when I started doing that and why. So my first question to you is, who was Melissa 10 years ago?
Oh, girl, that was a performance.
Wow.
Melissa 10 years ago, and 27 was the year I changed. 27 was the first iteration of who I am today.
Wow.
At 27 years old, that was the first iteration. So if I go exactly at 10 years, I was a young woman. I was married for 5 years at this point, 6 years at this point. I had both of my kids and I felt lost. I felt confused. I felt uncomfortable in this body. I didn't understand what it meant to be sexy. I didn't understand the full anatomy of my body. I was a woman going through life living in a shell of a woman's body. Wow. Like there was such a disconnect between my body and who I am, so to speak. Like we weren't on the same page. So yeah, I actually, when I think back on being 27 years old and what I thought I knew, I sometimes wish I could go back in time and I've said this before, tell that person to shut up. Wow. Like, you don't know it all. There's so much you still have to learn. There's so much growing and evolution that you still have before you. And you think, I mean, listen, when I was a teenager, I was very much a checklist person. So I'm high school, college, buy a house, get married, have kids, find a good job. Like, these are my kind of milestones. And honestly, by 27, I had all of those things. I was working. Make sure that's not me. I was working a really good job. I had both of my kids. I was married. We had bought a house. Like, all of those things were great. And it seems like if your checklist has a bunch of checks on them, you should feel fulfilled. Yep. But I was living life unfulfilled.
Yep. And it's one of those, like, this idea of the supposed to be. The checklist essentially is the supposed to be. Someone somewhere said, society said, and really, we're like engulfed or really enveloped by this idea that this is what, at 27 years old, 2 kids, married for a while, a career, you are living the life. You are what dreams are made of. You are proof that God is real and all of those things. But it is that the realization, if I'm hearing correctly, that I did all of the things, but that, as you said, was a performance. That's not actually what. So so what part of are you able to identify with? Okay, yeah, this was me, but this was not.
The again, when I look back and I would see something as simple as my wardrobe. And I love clothes now. I feel like they are an expression of your personality. I feel like they're an expression of how you feel, how you interpret the world. Like, there's a lot you can glean from someone just in what they're wearing. And I was 27 years old looking like I was a church mother. Why, Jesus? Why? Why would I think that? And then wondering why, wearing a button-up shirt, because I worked at a bank. So wondering why wearing a button-up collared shirt, and I literally just said this in the Love Hour, trousers, not slacks. Okay. I'm wearing trousers. Okay. The ugly charcoal gray pants that just
My,
conjured in your mind when I
the
said
uniform.
trousers,
The
those were the ones I
uniform.
was wearing
Yes. Where
because,
did you even find them?
yeah, Ross, Burlington, I don't even know.
I mean,
Just
and don't say
random
anything
places.
thinking that that's their thing.
No, I listen, in real life, I was at Ross the other day. I love Ross. I love
I
Burlington.
love it.
There are also things you shouldn't put in your cart when you're there. No shade to the stores, just my decision making
Absolutely. And
led.
the why behind it, right?
Correct, correct. Which is more important, where I feel like the idea and what it means to be a Christian is more caught up in my physical appearance and what I'm wearing, and I'm not considering what's in my heart. And that's not to say that my heart wasn't right, because I think that was always right as well. But
Yeah.
thinking that I had to put this on,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, girl,
Yeah.
what?
Right. And when you think about even what you just said, that your heart was right, but you still felt like you had to do. When we live up to our supposed to be, and we are performing essentially holiness, righteousness, really our relationship with God, even that is still out of step with what He would want for us. Because how long, when we live in that supposed to be space, we're not living where He, or moving in the way that He would have us to go. And so we are delaying our compliance, if you will, with purpose. And so, and the thing, or even we get up close to it, because I remember you shared before, taught Sunday school and all things. So you always had your hand in doing what thus saith the Lord.
Mhm.
But the thing that you can be in church and be busy and still be wrong, not to me,
Absolutely.
but like, so I just think that that's.
And the other thing that I think is so important is that um, I'm going to say it how I'm hearing it right now. You have a ministry to yourself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so just
Wow.
because I was teaching the world, I'm teaching Sunday school, I'm teaching Bible study, I'm teaching even children's church, which I love teaching children's church. All of those things, again, I love it. Like I just said, those are things I actually love. But if I'm going home unfulfilled, if I'm going home empty handed, child, what am I doing? How could it's not working for me? And that's not even to say in real time I actually realized it. It literally wasn't until I was 27 and I stopped and looked around and was like, this isn't making sense. This isn't making sense that I can preach or teach or whatever I'm doing, and all of these other people are feeling a sense of fulfillment, and I'm still not feeling fulfilled. I'm still, there's this unspoken but very much palpable unhappiness that's occurring in my life and in my marriage because I haven't lived out loud who I truly am.
Yes. Wow. Wow. And so now here we are 10 years later, and you've rebranded a few times. And
Mhm.
now we're in the iteration of another rebrand. And so I'll get into that a little bit later. But then who is Melissa Fredericks now?
She's still figuring it out, to be honest. But one thing that I will say is that I'm so much more in tune with me in a way that I wasn't previously. There are certain things that I think, or certain things that I hear, or certain revelations that I have, and I know they're because of the work that I've put in over the course of the last 10 years to identify Melissa outside of labels and outside of roles. So outside of the role of a wife, outside of the role of a mother, outside of the role of an employee, who are you really? What really makes you tick? And that work comes in finding and realizing who I am. I always say that integrity is being fully integrated, mind, body, and soul. And a lot of times none of us are, so we have this like tension inside, or the unhappiness, because we're not fully integrated. And I feel like I've reached a point of, I wouldn't say full integration, but there's definitely more integration than there was, 10 years ago.
When some people they have this evolutionary process, right? And you've been able to pinpoint it more specifically than I've heard other folks talk about. Like you have an age, you have a like a defining moment where some folks are just like, one day it just changes. You're able to pinpoint it. What I think is important even more for authenticity because what it is, because even in evolution to kind of move away from being inauthentic, we can then perform evolution as well because
That's good.
evolution looks away. Like evolution is a brand. Redo like that's just what folks do, right? Like you leave high school, and if you weren't the popular one in high school, you go to college and you may pledge or you hang out with different crowd. You get the people shorten their name. I did it. I was Brittany Broaddus, and I was actually Broaddus in high school. They called me by
Oh,
my name. Didn't even pronounce. I went to a military boarding school.
ah,
Didn't even pronounce it right. So they called me Broaddus. And so when I got to college, I was Bree for a little bit. And
ah,
my Facebook name was Bree, which is I was really trying to reinvent. And it never worked because all of this quirkiness that you see today always was. But
right,
I was ashamed of it
right.
because kids are cruel,
Yep,
kids
yep.
are terrible. And I was bullied all through middle and high school, but being in a boarding school, I didn't get to go home. So I lived with my bully. And so every day was
That's tough.
a thing that said something is wrong with you. So
Sure.
I just did what the movies did and got to college and tried to reinvent myself. And then I was just like, okay, this is also dumb because you know how much work it is to try to pretend to be somebody you're not. And then you got to remember, what is it that I say I like?
Right,
I don't even eat pizza.
right.
And then you get comfortable and you be like, yeah, give me this. And I'm like, oh, I thought you was allergic to, oh, yeah.
I forgot I had to say that. Yeah. Listen,
Nobody has time for that.
at
And so
all.
it, it really got to a point with me. Actually, it was a word that, somebody spoke over me and said that my promise and purpose was connected to my authenticity. And
Mm,
I did at that time, that was college. I did not know the intimacy firm was going to be a thing. I went to college to be a lawyer. And I don't know how this happened. Jesus is funny that way. But
yeah.
I didn't know then that I need to my 5'11", all of this, and my voice, the sound of my voice, the volume of my voice, my inappropriate questions, and all of those things, my inability to read the room.
Yes.
I told you that well. Like that needed to happen for what's happening right now. So, what for you are you able to say, like even like actions or things like that? I'm going to assume that it's the clip for me is somewhere in there. But
Okay.
what are you able to identify as like, oh, I've changed because I do this?
Yes. Really quick, going back to the authenticity thing really quickly. I your questions or the song choices. That's why I was like, oh, this is so on brand. I don't attempt or even pretend to know the songs of today because it's not my thing. It never has been. It never has been. And to the point of performing the evolution, I don't try to be what I'm not and I've never been the cool kid ever. They try to tell me I am today, and I'm like, child, I ain't telling you y'all gaslighting me, but I wasn't
You
cool.
only do.
Girl, stop. I was not cool in high school. And I never have been. And I'm so okay with even today with a platform. You have all of these followers, you're still popular, whatever. I'm still not a cool kid. I'm just not. And I'm okay with it. I am so okay with standing in the authenticity of
I'm
who I
okay. Yeah.
actually am. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. Sometimes I have the best quips. Like sometimes I'll be like, I wish that Melissa would show up all the time. Because sometimes I have a comeback. I'll be like, oh, girl, yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
sometimes I'll be like, oh, dang, I should have said this. And it'd be 3 days later. That's just who I am.
That will torment me. Like I will go to bed like I would have killed it with that.
Ah,
Really?
can we rerun this conversation? I got something to say. I promise you it happens to me all the time as well. And I can be both of those things and I'm fine with it.
Absolutely.
And again, going back to the evolution and the authenticity is recognizing that part of my growth has been sexual freedom. I was gonna try to dress it up nice. I ain't. Part of it has been sexual freedom. I am never inappropriate. I am never disrespectful, but I am also very confident in that I am living in a God-designed body,
Yeah.
and he called it good.
Very good. Yes, he did.
Very good.
Very good. He did.
So why do I need to walk around ashamed? Going back to it's the clip for me. Sure, I wore. First of all, I didn't know that it was gonna call all the hoopla.
Oh my.
Girl, I was like, over a shirt? Y'all gotta calm down.
Listen.
But this is the other thing that kind of tickled me a little bit about the whole conversation is that without the words, how many people would have recognized the body?
Come on.
And to me, that's the bigger issue.
Yep.
To me, that's the bigger issue, is that we're so disconnected that, again, without the words, y'all wouldn't have known what it was.
And from that, for me, that very thing, I'm like, the golden clip shirt has been a thing for years, and literally nobody had an issue. I was like, oh, it's the word. Oh, y'all weren't recognizing what this was. And so, because I'm at sexuality conferences and folks are like, yes, give me one. I was among my people. I didn't realize, and like to the point where I went back through myself and was looking at the names, I was like, these are all sexuality professionals. Nobody knows. And so, because I could not understand, I was still coming down off morphine from my surgery. And when that went, I was like, what is going on? And I realized, as you said, that that's a bigger issue, because then not long after that, I've had multiple clients, 50 plus, where Veronica comes to the party and I'm teaching them I literally taught a 56-year-old woman that she does not pee out of her vagina.
Listen to me. I did the For Women Only series, and I had 2 OBGYNs, and we did Human Anatomy 101. And there were so many people, and this is not to be to shame you. It's just a fact of life that so many of us do not know or understand the way our body works, human anatomy, the medical terms for them. We don't know those things. It puts us at a disadvantage, because when you're going to the doctor, you're like, girl, somewhere up through here, I don't know. And I think those are the things we associate so much of our body with sexuality, and our bodies are sexy. I get it. But there's also, they function. There's also, there's a word I'm looking for. I can't think of what it is. What is it?
Utility.
That's exactly the word. There's also utility in our body as well. And I think all we want to do is sexualize it. No, girl, just learn the body. Just learn the anatomy of your body, because it's beneficial. Because this is for women. Pads and tampons suck. Learn how to use a menstrual cup. You don't know how to use a menstrual cup because you don't know where your cervix is.
Absolutely. And you also don't want to touch, oh my God, I don't want to touch it. And like, so people having like the being queasy about actually like the blood part of it, I slightly can wrap my head around that.
I can.
Fluids do a thing for people. Like, I get that.
Yes, I get it.
But the issue of physically not wanting to touch your body is like, and it's just amazing thinking about believers. And I know that I have a very specific viewpoint, but like, my stepfather used to say, that's not mathematical. It's not mathematical to me that you are called to honor God with your body, present your body as a living sacrifice, but you don't know how your body works. How in good conscience, how can you honor God with a body that you don't know?
That's all I'm saying. Danny, Stovetop's Kisses, she would say, girl, that don't sound. That math ain't mathin'. That don't sound. And this is the other thing too, Brittany, is that you will lay next to a man and he'll know your body better than you.
Bust it wide.
Bust it wide open. And he knows your body better than you. Yep. And it was at that point, in addition to having kids, like I had emergency C-section, so it was with not even my regular doctor, because it was like, oh girl, you gonna die if we don't do this right now. So it was like, all right, well, we here now. And I'm realizing you've seen me naked, you've seen me naked, you've seen me naked, my husband seen me naked, y'all understand what's going on, and I don't understand myself. Again, one of those pivotal moments where I was like, that don't sound. I have to be more comfortable with the body God gave me for utility, and then also for sexuality.
And the thing is, even that, because it's like you're saying something so good about the over sexualization of bodies, and it's like, and nudity and all of this. We have so much going on. Like, we do much more with our nude bodies that's not sexually related than it is that, like, sex only make, there's a big deal, a very big deal. You should enjoy it, feel good, all the things. But you've been bathing, you bathe way more than you have sex.
100%.
Right? And the thing is that there are much more purposes, utility, as you said, for nudity than sex. Like, you have to go to the doctor and disrobe. You have to be able to understand. It's a matter of advocacy and agency at this point, so that you can know, this is my regular odor.
Yes.
This is the color and texture of my vaginal secretions. So that if it gets a little tint and it begins, the stuff, the juice that drops off the back of the trash truck, now we know that might be BV, and we need to go talk to somebody. And that the doctors who know, particularly for Black women who don't give a flying refrigerator magnet about us, we can go in there and say, no, Dr. Hammerstein, this is what's happening. This is my baseline. Here's what's happening. Here's how long it's been happening. You know what I mean? And so, 100%. And a lot of us, particularly believers, we feel like we shouldn't have sex until marriage, which is, we hear on that. And the thought is that you explore and learn together. Yes, you learn what you learn together as far as how your bodies work together. But your husband, as you said, should not be teaching you your body. We talked about this before. You have this information that you relay to him, because ultimately your orgasm is your responsibility.
Absolutely.
And you bring him along for the experience.
Absolutely.
And he serves as a partner, a complement.
Absolutely.
And he's not giving you nothing. It's not like he gives you a gift.
Yes. And the best sex comes from you knowing your body and being able to tell someone what you like.
It's the clip for me. Like, you all over here, but it's the clip.
Listen, please use the GPS to find where I'm telling you to go.
And there's a confidence, even in when you look at like the quality of relationships for me, the exercising your sexual voice lends itself to how you show up in your relationship. Because if you take less than, a lot of women take less than in sex. Sex is something that happens to them, not a fully embodied mindful experience that they get. And I've had asked this question on my page: is sex something you have to do or get to do? And an inordinate amount of women responded it's something that they have to do. And the thing is that sex is a gift. He gave it to us to be enjoyed and to be experienced. And I think that we do ourselves a disservice and really disregard the joy and the glory that sex can be by this thing, by not knowing how our bodies work. And that goes all the way back to childhood, when we don't name body parts appropriately. When we call it a cookie instead of a vulva. The fact that vulva is still a strange word to people.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that I think I spend a lot of time teaching women that knowledge of anatomy increases your access to pleasure. If you know the full purpose of the clitoris, then you know to tell your husband he's not DJ Clue, so don't go in there on the outside of the clitoris, and recognize that that's too intense. If you come down the side of the labia where stimulate the internal clitoris, then that'll give you a soft glow, like a slow hum.
Yes. Yes. Don't that sound wonderful?
I mean, just wafting over you,
No. I love me a good internal glow. Don't nobody want to put product and highlight on. No. I want it to shine through.
From the inside out.
From the inside out.
And then when he said, can you make me some tacos? Yes.
Yes. Gladly and proudly.
Now, do you know where that reference came from? Jesus Christ. Baby boy, when Taraji went to make Tyrese some tacos, he's like, I'm a cook, I'm a clean. Oh my God.
Oh, when he was naked?
After they got in a fight and then they went to the house and had sex, and she was like, I'm making some tacos. She's like, yes, I'm a cook, I'm a clean.
Oh.
Jesus.
I do remember the movie. I just don't remember these parts.
I love you so dearly. So speaking of love, marriage, sex, relationships, all of the things, you have been married for a really long time.
I have.
You have been married for a really long time. And in the age and day of where marriages ain't lasting,
They ain't.
yours is lasting. And you all had an event the other day that was beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Your extraness just gives me all that I like. Literally, extra for me is like ground zero. Like it really is so much further to go. Like if you only knew, like where we could go with this. Like even if you all of the things that went into my role in this season, it's like Brittany, you didn't need all that, but I do though. But I mean, do you see?
Yeah, do you see?
No.
First of all,
yeah. So I really, that is amazing. And so there's a picture circulating around the internet, and we will insert it here for folks to see, where Kev is sitting at, you all are sitting around the table, your sister's behind you, Kev's over here, and you're like this. Do you know the picture? Are you
I know the exact picture.
The picture? What is going through your head? Because that picture was not posed or staged.
It wasn't. It really
what
wasn't.
Is going through your head in that moment?
So during this time, there's a projector screen in front of us, and we're showing clips of basically his journey. Yeah. And I am literally thinking back and having all those memories come back to me beyond what we're seeing, but remembering, I'm a little emotional thinking about it. But remembering when Kevin and I met when we were 16 years old, and he didn't have a car, and we lived on a military base, and he would ride his bike to Burger King to go to work. And I would beg my mom, because he would get off at like 10 o'clock. And I would beg my mom to let me drive my car to go pick him up. We're in rainy Washington State, so he wouldn't have to ride his bike back home. So we've gone all the way from that to, quote unquote, Maserati Kev. And to be in the space where I could honor him and celebrate him when I know the struggle of where we were, it's an overwhelming, like, man, like, can you believe we're here? I mean, he's obviously looking at the projector screen, but I'm looking at him like, we've been through a lot. We've been through, like, we've grown up together, and we've been through life together, all the highs, all the lows, to include a pandemic. Like, we've gone through it all, literally, at this point. Yeah. And I just can't believe the moment. It's an overwhelming sense of pride and gratitude and love, kind of all wrapped in one.
And you know what? I know there's like camera lenses and like the blur and all the things and the glow and all that, but you sitting there in that white looking. And just like the admiration that you have for your husband, and it's so like amazing to me, because my recent prayer has been, God, let the next relationship be better than what I pretended my last one was. Because I used to put on for the gram. Before the gram was the gram, right? I mean, it was all the things, to the point where my ex-husband actually shared with me. We had a recent conversation where I looked at it as I would, speak to him like the king he's going to be, and pour into him and all those things, right? And I was like, even though we would be in a smack dab in the middle of an argument. I'm like, oh, I love Big Daddy on Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. And so to him, I was like, so I thought that would encourage you. He was like, or it convinced me that I wasn't doing anything wrong. And I was like,
But okay, that part. All
Yeah.
right. Got it. Uh-huh.
So
Got
I said, okay, well, thank you, sir. And I'm so glad that we've gotten to a place where we can have those
it. Have
kind
those
of
conversations.
conversations, and it's been a blessing to have that space to co-parent in. But when I look at that picture, I was like, okay, Jesus, you remember what I had said, this what I meant. You see that look? I want to look like that. Like I want, but and some of the stuff was superficial. I was like, when he come in the room, I want my mouth to water. Like that's how I want him to be.
Give it
Like,
to it,
oh,
Jesus.
girl, I'm drooling.
Give it to it, Jesus.
Oh, so I'm drooling, man. Like, yeah, I want to be that kind of vibe, you feel me? But I was like, Lord, for the context of it all, if you needed a little visual aid, this is what I mean. That like adoration, and you said in your speech, you thanked him. You said, "I thank you for allowing me to wear the Mrs. Kevin on stage name without shame."
Mhm.
What does that mean for those who may not understand?
Girl, church girls had really bad PR the last couple weeks. We've had some
Ooh.
bad PR the last few weeks. And when I've gone through a lot of back and forth about changing my Instagram handle from Miss Kev on Stage to something that allows me to stand as a standalone brand. And I recognize the messaging. Even some of the people that follow me are like, "Oh, girl, you're a brand unto yourself. You don't need to be associated with." And
Yeah.
I'm not. I actually appreciate the message and the intent behind what they're saying.
Yeah.
And so I wrestled. I'm not going to lie. I have wrestled with that.
Yeah.
And to be at a point where being tied to him doesn't bring me shame. Being tied to him, I don't have to separate myself from him.
Yeah.
Recognizing that even if I change my Instagram handle, I said I do and change my name.
Yeah. Wow.
We're together.
Turn that back.
Yeah. Like, we're together.
Ooh.
I've committed myself. I said I do. I wear a ring. We are together. We are one. And I'm not ashamed. I'm proud of that. I'm not in a trauma love. I'm not in a toxic love. I'm not in a struggle. And listen, I'm not saying it's perfect either. Okay, let's be clear. I'm not saying it's perfect either. But where we stand today, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of his journey. I'm proud of where he is. And I'm not ashamed to be associated with it. And so I said that again because church girls, we've had some bad PR this week, and I have a feeling about that's separate. But as far as me and my house, that's girl.
Right. Yep.
That's a whole other little situation. But I'm grateful that Kevin hasn't put me in a situation where I've had to justify his actions, and I have to stand next to him to do it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful he hasn't put me in that position.
Amen. That's amazing. And so when I saw that, like there was like you. I don't know if you want to do acting or anything, but there's like so much like you're like it's authentic, so it's not like you pretending, but like when you go there, you go there.
Yes. That's be the problem. That's why I can't do acting, because I can't conjure it.
It's but the thing is,
there or it's that.
It's like, but you're so in tune with the emotion of the thing, and then even how you approach like Love Hour and all that, like you do your research and all the things. Like I can just see you investing in the script, connecting to the character, and then be like, okay, I'm gonna do this girl justice because she deserves her story deserves to be told.
What's funny is that I want to write. I want to either create a show or a movie. I'm still tossing some ideas. I think it's a show. And I do get really wrapped up in the characters. I do, more so than the dialogue and the world. I want to know, who are these characters that I'm creating? What's their backstory? What's their motivation? What's their traumas? You know, what's their imposter syndrome, like what are some of the things that they struggle with? Those are the things that intrigue me more in the writing, like kind of process. Than Kev's like, to be funny, let's put him in this situation. I'm like, but would that character be in that situation? Because like I remember we had wrote down that like her mama and her daddy took her to church when she was like, why would she do this today then?
And it's so funny. Like I went through that process with my Vulva and me, and these were people's real life stories. And I wanted to like rewrite their stories. And I was like, but why? Literally called some of my authors like, so why did Keisha do that again? Because I need the end. Like what? But when did Keisha decide? Like it really.
I have questions and they need answers.
That stuff. That is so good. So when you think about being MKOS now is like doing amazing. You're having conversations about the direction of where Love Hour is going to go. I'm just going to. Okay.
We're still deciding. Actually, I think I came to a decision, but we're still deciding.
But look at me. I mean, because I owe Love Hour a great deal. And you really, and Shamira.
I love Shamira.
And so with that though, appreciating the fact that you've not had to deal with any scandal or shame as it relates to your relationship, and like being your relationship being a point of consumption for people, like people consume you on a daily basis. Like, has there ever been? I know you said you wrestled with a bit. Like, is there ever a thought to be Melissa Fredericks the brand?
Yeah, I think that there's still parts of me that I want to be able to keep separate.
Yeah.
And so I think what the idea of MrsKevOnStage does, or MKOS, or just having kind of a separate online, is that it does allow me, I am a chronic overshare. Allison said this before. I do tend to overshare. It's just kind of now. Once I get to talking, girl, it just kind of all comes out. And so in working on that, I have to recognize that MrsKevOnStage is absolutely a portion of Melissa. There's nothing inauthentic about the idea of MrsKevOnStage and that brand that isn't truly who I am. But all of MrsKevOnStage, or all of Melissa, is not MrsKevOnStage, if that makes sense. And so there are parts of me that I do want to try to keep and hold private and sacred. And so I don't know why the name thing becomes like, now it feels like so much, but it does start to feel like maybe a little overwhelming, that I don't want to lose. You said this earlier, and I've heard it said this way on a podcast that I listened to, that I don't want to become a caricature of myself. I don't want to become a caricature of myself. I always want to be authentic and true. And I also want to be able to come off stage and know that I don't have to share my whole entire life on social media and still live a really fulfilled life.
Yes. And it's so when you think about brand, like even just that, Melissa Frederick, MKOS, or even KevOnStage and the whole on stage brand, like family is your brand, but then family is also, this is real life, y'all. And like y'all, and it's like the expectations I can only imagine of the Love Hour folks, watchers, the Patreon subscribers. Now you all have the app and all the stuff coming from the soundstage. Like people are like, give me.
Yes.
And so that can be like, we often forget, even as the because there's folks who I consume and think, and I'm just like, I mean, where is the post? Like, what's happening? Like, I depend on this. Give me. And but then as a creator and as a brand, I guess.
Absolutely. You're a brand.
I'm working on it. So one time, somebody said, oh my God, is that Brittany from the Institute Firm? I was like,
you said me? Girl, yes.
She was like, I recognize that emblem anywhere. I was like, oh. So I couldn't take it. But thinking about that, I also know that I'm sitting here some days like, I don't want to go on Instagram. I don't feel like it. Like the fact that I'm in this space for free, like I'm doing a content creation lock-in because I need to get it off my plate. Because listen, y'all want me to post stuff and y'all have to come, and then reels now is the thing. You know what it take to edit the reels?
Girl.
And also I'm getting my PhD, so my professor comes first.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
It, so it's
You
just like when you
literally are
think
doing
about
all the
that,
things.
huh?
I said, you're literally doing all the things.
Oh my God. And like doing too much. So that should be I should be in that game doing too much. I need to go
I
sit
love it.
honestly. So when you think about being something that is like willingly being consumed by the people, right? Because when you sign up to be a brand, have a platform, that's what you sign up for, right?
Absolutely.
So folks who are considering platforming or doing whatever, you're going to be consumed. So
Yes.
prepare for that. What is something, as we get ready to wrap up, what is something that you've heard about yourself that is unequivocally untrue?
So what's funny is that I purposefully stay away from blogs. Anytime I'm on someone's platform, I almost never go back and read the comments. I'll like pop in to say, hey, thank you for having me on the platform, whatever, and I move out. To try, I'm very sensitive, and people always say, don't let the whatever, don't let the haters, stick with the people that support you. But the fact of the matter is, the way the human brain works, you're gonna look at
Yes,
the
yes,
negative and you're gonna hold on to it. And I know that about myself, and so I purposefully try to stay out. I think more so than something I've read, because there's more stuff, to be honest, about Kev anyway, but also I also just don't look very hard, so there could be tons of stuff out there. But I would say the probably the biggest misconception of me, and not that I've read it, but I think it's just what people automatically assume, is that I am probably more straight-laced than I actually am.
Okay. Okay.
I think that depending on what I'm doing, who I'm with, listen, I could be a ton of fun. I could let loose and I could be a lot of fun. Yeah, real good time.
Yes.
And I don't think that because I do the love hour and just the natural type of platforms that I'm more attracted to, I love a good deep conversation. You're probably going to see me cry because that's also what just happens to me all the time. I love to be edified and I love to edify people. I love to learn and evolve and self-help and grow. Like those are things that really just like get me all warm and fuzzy inside. I do love those things. But I'm not that all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably, even when I'm being funny, sometimes I don't think people always understand that I'm joking. So I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions, is that I'm probably a lot tighter, like more tightly wound than I probably actually am. And that's not to say that I'm not. Okay. But I am attracted to people that are have very like high energy, bubbly type of personalities, because I like to be that as well. So like I literally talk to Danny, Stovetop Tickets, who will be on this platform. I literally talk to Danny every single day. We're about to be on vacation together tomorrow. Like, because I'm naturally attracted to people that are just kind of that kind of opposite of me, and they'll pull that outside of me.
And it also just goes to speak to like, y'all don't know my life in real life.
Yes.
I do this on TV. Now I'm not being phony, but to think that what you did on YouTube, Instagram, and sometimes Facebook is the sum total of who I am. You tripping, not me.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's really awesome. That again, that part we talked about before is being able to reserve something for yourself, because even that, anything that you put out for the people to consume, you're going to want more of. So then there's always going to be that expectation to always show up like that. Like,
and that would be, if I always showed up in that way, that would actually be a caricature of myself. That would be me performing. Because while I do have that portion of my personality, it's not like that's 90% of who I am. That it's just not who I am, and what I enjoy is actually more of the deep conversations. That's absolutely who I am. But that's not to say those parts of me doesn't exist. But if I magnified that, that would be inauthentic.
Absolutely.
It would be inauthentic.
And even somebody like me who is very bubbly, very over top, goofy, you can random nonsensical text. What's
And
up,
they're my
guys?
favorite. I
Right,
love them.
random.
Yeah.
But that is naturally who I am. I'm naturally more bubbly. But so what happens then though is if I have a moment where I'm just sitting still, if I'm just introspective, what's wrong? What's happening? And I'm like, shut up. I'm not, nothing is wrong. So then even that, someone who is naturally bubbly, over the top, very, and you said something earlier, like you're never inappropriate. And so I'm always inappropriate. Like, oh, child, laugh at, like, when it comes, like, when I tell my mom's death story, people get uncomfortable. But it's just really the funniest thing that you ever want to hear. God bless her soul, mommy, I love you. But it, like, if you knew who Lisa was, the way she died is so on brand.
That's funny.
Of anything else you could have done that day. But anyway, so stuff like that, that's who I am. And it comes back. And so when I get to do it freely, it feels good. When I have to do it on demand, which is why social media troubles me so, because I wish that I can build my brain and give the people what they need by way of intimacy coaching and I could just do intimacy for, like, Instagram for fun. Like, and I can't do it anymore. And that's one of the missing pieces. So then when you think about, then conversely, folks have a misconception of you. And this is not just from being a public figure, but just in your life, in your relationships, what is a critique that you've gotten that, even though you don't like it, is absolute facts?
I would probably say that I am hypercritical. I am hypercritical not only of people, although that's probably not the criticism that I've received. It's probably more about how hypercritical I am of myself, and not in the like really cutesy, like, oh, I'm always aware I'm going to be harder on myself than anyone else, which is true. Most people are.
Yeah.
But like even taking that like a step further, where it's difficult to celebrate me. That is definitely and it's no fun, and this is something that I'm working on. Not that anyone said this to me, but I'm recognizing it. It's no fun being around someone that doesn't have the confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
And so always being the person that's like, oh, I can't do that. Like, even not on some like, look at me, I need the attention. It's just like, no, I really feel like that. Like, I don't understand why people don't understand why I don't feel like I really do feel like that. So trying to get over that has been probably one of my biggest critiques. I went to therapy thinking this woman was going to give me all the accolades. And this woman said, I think that you're too self-aware. And I was like, I guess in some ways maybe that's a good thing, but in reality, she wasn't saying it as a compliment. It was actually a critique. Yes. And so that's what I mean. It's not like in the cutesy type of way. It's like to a point where I handicap myself because I don't recognize my own capabilities.
So would you say that's and this wasn't on the list, but would you say that was probably when you were going through that, I'm not a creative system?
Absolutely.
Was that what that was?
Absolutely. It is. I have a unique is the word I will use. I have a unique ability to define myself out of greatness.
And so there's like cognitive dissonance there.
There's a little bit of cognitive. I stopped right there because I've never worded it that way. And so it kind of hit me because it came out. It just came out and then it hit me. I have a unique way of defining my way out of greatness. Yeah, that's the first time I've said it that way, but that's true.
Let's write that down.
Yeah, that's that on that right there.
And take that back so we can process that with the therapist. Like, this is what I'm realizing. What do they call it? Breakthrough? What they call it in therapy?
Yeah, it was a breakthrough though. That was an aha moment. Yeah, it's funny to me too, because I do love words. And so the way that I'm able to formulate things, sometimes it is faster than I can think. And so that I am having a moment right now. So I'm going to move on. But yeah, that was a moment.
So what was it? I forgot who it was. They said you have to rest in the discomfort.
I do. That's what I need. I'm sitting in it right now.
You need to sit in your discomfort. Well, while you're sitting in your discomfort,
Mhm.
and while we're moving to the space where we are no longer defining ourselves out of greatness, we're
Uh-huh.
basking in the greatness that you are, because
Yes.
literally you drew out the branding and the logo for MKOS.
Oh, I did.
You did. So to look at that and then to say I'm not creative, there is like, do you see the world how we see it?
Yes.
Because I don't think that you do.
Yeah. And what I did in my mind was define myself out of it. So I won't say it aloud. So I'm simply saying thank you.
Mhm.
And yeah, my grandmother, really quickly, my grandmother used to love butterflies when I was a kid. She had butterflies everywhere, all over her house. And when she passed, I found myself liking butterflies just as a way to like remember her in honor of her. And so I didn't even really know how I wanted my logo to be. I knew I wanted it to be MKOS, and I knew I wanted a butterfly on there. So all the drawings are kind of like, what if it was over here? What if it was over here? What if it was over here? What if the M was actually a butterfly? Like I had all these kind of like ideas kind of floating in my mind. And so for it to have come out, and it's so clean, which is also very much me, a very like clean aesthetic. I don't like a whole lot going on.
Gives me
Uh,
showroom. Gives me a
huh?
showroom vibe. It gives me a
Yes,
showroom feel. Yeah.
yes. I just kind of like that, like, just very clean, classic, very clean lines kind of aesthetic. And I just love it. It's one of my favorite things. Every time I look at it, I'm actually really proud of it. And it's something that like kind of came from my brain. And I'm working on it because the other thing in defining myself and recognizing who I am is that I sometimes, even sometimes as I'm talking, I see my words in pictures.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so even learning how to like lean into that, if I say something, literally sometimes I'll close my eyes because I can see those words in pictures. So recognizing, well, that's a creative thing too, Melissa, like leaning into that. Um, has kind of been a journey as well. I stopped talking because I got emotional about that and was having a different revelation. So I'm moving on.
No, I got, and the thing is that, like, everybody said, keep in mind, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my stuff.
Yes,
So when you think, but though, when you
I
think,
knew that saying. God dog it. The one pop culture thing I knew.
I was going to talk through it because I wasn't sure if it was coming.
I was here for the explanation because you never know.
And so when you think about everything that you just explained, how your mind works, how do you see, that is art in real time. And
Mhm.
so your sensitivity to it makes sense because those things, those visions, those words, those images, those are your, like, a lot of creators see their work as their babies. Those are your babies, and you're going to protect it at all costs. But what's happening is that you're protecting it even from yourself, which
Mm,
that you in turn, if you shift that mindset, you then can be the one that carries it through to where it needs to be. Just like our
that's
children,
good.
we walk alongside our children and grow them up, train them up in the way that they should go, and you
Right.
are able to take that vision, MKOS, and then you are the one that was able to convey it to the graphic designer to bring it to life. You did the same thing with your, and correct me if I'm wrong, with your planner, and you had something
Oh, I
like,
did.
okay, this is okay, but this is not what I want. So all of those things, you are protecting your art and sensitive about your art because what you give to the world is your art. That's how
Yeah.
you see it, and so that's why the sensitivity.
I
Definitely
love it. I'm owning that explanation.
awesome. And so if we go ahead and close, last two questions. What did this iteration of MKOS, of Melissa Fredericks, of all the things that make you who you are, mom, wife, brand, influencer for the culture. I called you, that's what I'm going to call you.
Yes.
It's the influencer that you do the things the influencers do, but for the culture.
Yes.
Make it Black womanly in the best.
I'm here for it.
And I love it. So what does leaving here empty, leaving here as in leaving this earth, leaving here empty, having done all that you were supposed to do, what does that look like? How are you leaving the world?
Legacy impact, you mean?
Sure.
It is
I don't
my,
have those words. I'm not as much
oh,
over.
no. I just want to make sure I answer your question
Yes,
correctly.
that.
My first hope is that when I leave this earth, that my boys are able to say that my mom taught me emotional intelligence. My mom taught me consent. My mom taught me what it means to be a man and show up in this world as a man, as a husband, and as a father in the best way that I can. I promise you, I be telling my boys, what's not gonna happen is you're gonna get married and some little girl gonna be looking at me. Why didn't your mama teach you how to
I
use
blame
your
your
words?
mama. Yes.
Like, I don't understand why you don't know how to have a conversation. I don't understand how you don't know how to say things beyond I'm mad or sad or happy. There's other feelings. I'm gonna need you to identify those. I don't understand why you shut down. I want you to talk to me. Nope. I want these boys to learn all of that, and I know they're getting it from me because they be mad at me. But I want them. I want anything that I offer this world to show up in them first. They're my boys. They're my children. They're my bloodline. And before I can offer anything to the world, I need to make sure that I'm giving it to these little boys.
That's good.
So that would be first. And then if I extend it beyond them, I would hope that oh, this made me emotional. Um, that marriages were impacted, that women and their lives and what it means to show up as a woman in this world was impacted, that dreams were manifested in ways that people didn't know possible. Because I always say I'm regular, and all of my insecurities are so real. And sometimes I overly display them, but I display them because I know there are a lot of women more like me than not. And if I can do it, there's no excuse why you cannot. There's just none. Because if you knew me for real, you would be like, oh, girl, I know I can do it. Like, if she did it, like, there's no way I can't do it. And so I hope that the legacy beyond the legacy lives beyond just what I buy and the house that I live in and the car that I drive and material possessions. I remember really quickly, I think this might be like more demonstrative of the lesson of the legacy. I remember teaching this class. I used to teach children's church, and I love teaching children's church, specifically between the ages of like 6 to maybe 9, before the kids are too cool to like sit in Sunday school and learn, but old enough to have like really insightful answers without them really recognizing it. That's my favorite age to teach Sunday school. And I remember I taught this class, and like a few weeks later, because the church I was teaching, we would do it in rotations. So I would teach like once every couple months. Next, the following time that I taught, the woman came and picked up her daughter, and she stopped me and she said, my daughter came home and raved about you. She said, this pretty dark skin or chocolate woman, whatever like a 7-year-old would say. She taught us this class. We talked about love. And it was a class. I was talking very specifically about the love of God, and I was very specifically trying to instill that, especially in like the brown skinned little girls in the class, that they were loved and they were worthy and all of these things. And so she caught that message and went home and told her mama. And I remember thinking, that's impact. That's impact. When that woman, she grows up, the little girl grows up and she's 30 years old, I will be part of her story. I had this teacher when I was 6 years old, and we was talking about the love of God. I don't remember nothing about it. She was a little bitty something, and she was so passionate. And that's a message that I remember. That's legacy. That's impact. And that's one of the things that when I think about what I want to leave, I just want to be part of someone's life story. That's it. You've heard a message, you've listened to a love hour, you've watched a video, and there was something that changed. It was a catalyst to change in your life. What more can I ask for? Literally, what more can I ask for?
Now, I'm going to try to say this because I'm already, I don't know if you can see how wet my eyes are. So I'm going to try to say this without.
I'm crying as well.
And I wasn't getting ready to tell you, like, you don't have to, don't apologize for being emotional. Like, that's the thing. Like, you don't got to warn us, just do it. But also, I got about 5 words with it to go. You've done that. So if you were, heaven forbid, Lord, we wouldn't be able to do it. But if you were to leave tomorrow, oh, wait!
No.
You have been instrumental in literally changing my life. Last being on Love Hour for the first time not only expanded my reach, more people got to know me. That was amazing. But your yes, I've told you this before, your yes, I talk about shooting shots for this season. I still approach you with fear and trembling because I honor you, and I never want to be too familiar. I sent an email to Angela Rice. I sent an email to Erica Campbell, Kira Sheard, Lizzo, and I did it with such audacity.
I love it.
And when I got the rejections, I came back and said, but why though? Yeah. Help me understand why so that I know how to, because I'm going to do it again. So how do I know how to shift next time? Because we want to pivot in November. We do it twice a year. So what do you need for the next time?
Yes.
And the thing is that how you do, and even how I approach this season, like how I research, I spent hours researching, going through old posts, like to even be meaningful in how I craft the questions, engage, and all of those things. Like you're you, the authentic you, the right now you, the 10 year ago you that makes this you who you are. Jesus Christ, I am just so thankful.
Thank you.
Like I tell you all the time, but I want to say out loud in public to the millions of people that are going to be watching.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. And so, like I say, yes, you've done it. Whatever you want to be an impact on, you want to be a part of someone's story, you are literally a part of my right now story. When people say, how did you get here? How do you do? Well, let me tell you, one day back in August, I met this woman and she made a call. And then in October, and here we are. And the thing is and it hit me recently. I was working with a business coach and we looked at my email. I hate the way business works. I don't want to do it. I just want to show up. So we were looking at read ratio, click, link, click, like all the analytics, all the things. Yeah. Right? The first email I ever sent out to my platform was the announcement that I was going to be on the show. 24 people got delivered to, so it was only 24 people on my email list. Yeah. 6 opened it, and only 1 actually clicked the YouTube link. Right. Last month when I did the Understanding Intimacy webinar, there was 770 people. Wow. And 65 clicks and almost 50 something who clicked the link. And so for some people who have larger preference, that's small. But we're talking about just a little bit over a year. That's huge. That is, and then even touch points in between, great, it's the click was like a whole thing. But it was a whole thing that got me to be able to, what it did was help me to refine my message. And I really credit, number one, the other Melissa Pinto Carnegie from Sex Positive Family, who said, find your people and talk to them. And I realized that Black women, me, her, I am my people. And what would I say to me? So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. That's not who I'm going to be. Hey, girlfriend. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. Yeah, that's what I say to me. And I say that and I still do it with the love of Christ. And I still spit straight facts because I still have disagrees. Put some respect on the back of my name and make sure
Yes,
that invoice is going to reflect all the years of schooling.
correct.
But I
And
do
don't
it.
at me. Pay the invoice instead.
And I do it so unapologetic. Like there's a confidence. It's just like Melissa Fredericks think that you're decent. Like think that
Period.
you're amazing person.
Amazing, dope, period.
So why are you? And so we're not doing that for exposure anymore. That's dead. That's gone away. Okay. So
100%.
I really, really thank you for that. So if you could just close us with what it means for you to be a Black woman, and then let everybody know where they can find you and keep in touch with you.
Okay. First of all, being a Black woman is lit. Period.
So lit.
It is the best tribe on the planet. You can't. What is it? You can't join in. You have to be born in.
Yes.
It's just what it is.
And they try so hard, don't they?
Yes, and you just can't do it. There is a secret language that you're not taught. You just know. There is looks that there's no answer key to. You just understand it. There is loyalty, there is honor, there is respect, there is sisterhood. There is something so special about being a part of this group of women that is unexplained. Words could never do it. Words could never do it. When I did my rebrand, the first thing I told Kevin is I'm not doing this without Black women. Period. We have a photographer on staff who is Joshua. Everyone knows Joshua. Love Joshua. He is not a Black woman. It's due to no fault of his own. He can't help how he was born, but he's just not. Yeah. And there is just something about the hype, the support, the love of a Black woman to another Black woman. It can't be duplicated. It can't be replicated. It just can't. It's often imitated, but you just can't duplicate it. It's just something different.
They use some recipe, but the sauce don't taste the same. It just be just a little off. No, it just don't be right. It don't be. And you listen, y'all can try all you want, but there's just something being a part of this group, specifically, like gang, like we are, like I don't know what to tell you. Listen, it is. Oh my God, it is so. I am obsessed with Black women. Like I am literally, and even like my Vulva for buying about Black women. Even the space we're taping in, shout out to Cash House Philly, Black women. Yes. I mean, clearly. With Beyonce in the bed. Beyonce's in the bed. Know what you thought this was? Okay. And like the whole my glam squad, all Black women, like I resonate with that so much. And just know that all the things that you just laid out that Black women are, you are the walking embodiment of that. And thank you so much for coming. So please tell all the people what you have going on, coming up, how they can support you. What do you want from the people? Because they want to give back to you all that you've given to us. How can I can be found at MrsKevOnStage on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I do have a book that I am working on. Well, I should say a devotional. We are working on a book, but that won't come out until next year. But I am working on devotional is a little heavy. I won't say devotional. I am working on a journal. It's a better way to say it. I feel like it's a devotional. Well, devotional feels like it should be a whole bunch of scriptures up in there, and it ain't. It ain't. Reflective journal. Yes, it's a reflective, a good little reflective 30-day journal, which I'm really, really super excited about. So that should be coming out here soon, probably in the summer. And yeah, that's probably it for now. I do have a special-ish episode of the Love Hour that I'm working on called The Broken Promises of the Purity Movement. And these are, girl, I'm so excited about it. I realize that
in the book that I wrote a few years ago, I kind of tap dance on this idea. And so we're going to bring it out to the forefront again. And I have a guest. She calls it something different, but this is the way that I've worded it. So she will be a guest on. I'm really excited about that. And yeah, girl, that's it.
That's it. That's all the things. Again,
That's all.
All the things. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
So I don't know if y'all can recognize, but I'm obsessed with this. I love her. Like it makes me so happy. These photos, this new photo shoot that I was like,
this
and
was
you created your vision board for your photo shoot. You were on mine. I was like, I wasn't.
I love it.
And my pictures today, I was looking at.
Oh, I'm so excited to see.
Before, like your process, we keep trying to wrap this up, but yeah, your process about how you go through like photo shoots and stuff, and like how it's like. I am as much as I smile and kiki and laugh when the camera come on, I'm like, and a full face of makeup, I'm like, what do I do with my eyes? Where does it go? And when everybody learned how to smile, Tyra Toy, she didn't teach me. I don't know how to do it.
Girl.
Literally, the photographer said to me today, I tried to get my face, the photographer was like, why do you look scared? I was like, it's not what I'm giving.
Is that? Girl, this was supposed to be sexy.
Oh, right, listen, and I can't do sexy because my eye get lazy, the lip gets hanging, but that's also performance.
It is.
Because porn told me this is what sexy looks like. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. Thank you so much. This is episode 1, the season premiere of season 3 of My Vulva and Me. This has been Black Woman Evolve. And if you did not know what evolution looked like, now you do. Make sure you stick in and stay tuned with us. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
My vulva, my vulva.